Field Notes from Inside the Build, Episode 2. This week felt different, not in a dramatic way, not in a way that announces itself loudly, but different in a way you notice once you slow down long enough to pay attention. The build continues. That part has not changed. We are still writing code, still refining workflows, still fixing things that are almost right but not quite there yet. Building is still very much part of the day-to-day, but there is a growing sense that we are approaching the end of the road for this phase of the build. Not an end in the sense of being finished forever. That does not really exist. Software never reaches a final state. There will always be improvements, fixes, and iterations. But the end of the heavy build, the part where most energy is spent getting the system to a place where it can stand. All things being equal, the core build should be complete this month, at the very latest, early in the first quarter. That realization has been quietly reshaping how I think about the work ahead. Because once the build reaches that point, the balance has to change. The goal now is clear. At least 70% of the focus needs to be on product market fit. About 30% remains on product development. That ratio matters. It is a deliberate shift away from the comfort of building and toward the uncertainty of the market, toward conversations, feedback, positioning, and real-world validation. That shift is not fully underway yet, but the groundwork is being laid. One of the first changes is how I think about customer engagement. For a while now, communication with signed customers has been mostly reactive. Support questions, feature clarifications, occasional check-ins when something breaks or changes. This quarter, I plan to start sending a monthly newsletter to signed customers. Not marketing emails, not announcements for the sake of noise. The intention is education, context, helping customers understand how to use the system better and why certain decisions were made. A way to stay present and engaged as the product matures. That work has not started yet, but the decision has been made and the planning has begun. Another important step this week was investing in a CRM and a lead generation tool. This might sound like a small operational move, but it signals a deeper shift. A CRM removes ambiguity. It forces you to look at your pipeline honestly, to track activity, to acknowledge what is real and what is assumed. Once that system is in place, you can no longer pretend you are just building quietly in the background. You are selling. Which leads to the biggest change this week. I started calling. That represents a real leap from where I was at the end of last year. Calling means exposure. It means hearing no. It means learning very quickly whether what you built makes sense to someone who does not already believe in it. Building rewards precision. Selling rewards movement. That transition is uncomfortable, but it also creates signal, the kind you cannot get from analytics alone. Based on my calling and prospecting activities this year, combined with some momentum from the latter part of last year, I now have 6 hot leads to pursue. 6 conversations where interest is real and follow-up matters. That changes the psychological landscape. When you have no leads, everything feels abstract. When you have a few, the stakes become tangible. It also highlights the tension of this phase. The build is not complete, and in reality, it never will be. There will always be features that could be better, flows that could be smoother, and edge cases that need attention. Waiting for perfect is no longer an option. This is the challenge of the junction we are approaching, holding an unfinished product in one hand while asking the market to engage with it using the other. On Monday, we are updating the website. That feels symbolic. For a long time, the website has lagged behind the product. Updating it now is part of turning outward more intentionally, explaining clearly what exists, being honest about what it does and where it is headed. The journey still feels like the middle of the build. That has not changed. But it also feels like we are approaching a point where things may start to shift. Not suddenly, not cleanly, but gradually. I do not expect this next phase to be easier. In many ways, I expect it to be more challenging. Building is difficult, but predictable. Selling introduces variables you cannot control. Rejection, timing, budget, competing priorities. And yet, I suspect this phase may come with a different kind of reward. Not just progress, but validation. The kind that comes when someone chooses what you built because it genuinely solves a problem they care about. That is where things stand this week. Still building, but now deliberately shifting focus. 70% product market fit, 30% product development. The journey continues.